How does everything look?
What's wrong with the setup?
It's too good of a deal. How are you supposed to get every last cent of our customers if we keep selling such spectacular products at low cost?
Well, our customers deserve a wonderful experience that they don't have to pay an arm and a leg.
We are not a charity. We are here to make money. And if we keep selling like this, we'll be broke before next Christmas. If you're going to sell these products at these prices, you're going to sell twice as many. Good luck.
Before we start, Justice and I were wondering if we could take a few days off for the holidays, spend some time with our family.
Let's see how much you sell first.
It's gonna be okay.
I think we got this.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Justice,
And I'm Laurel.
and we're the Daniels.
Yes, and we're super excited today to give you a little bit of some insight on the Little Rebel machine. We are going to show it off quilting, but on the new Cutie Breeze frame.
Right. And that's really exciting. And we're going to share a little bit about that, like LJ said, starting out on the quilting side. Maybe you could kick us off with some of the features it comes with.
Yes, so first off, a few things to just point out is this one you will see, since we have it on a frame and we are going to be doing quilting with it, we do have a standard hopping foot on the machine. Now it is very unique because it is a straight stitch sewing machine and a quilting machine. So with that, it actually comes with a couple different feet, right, Justice?
Yeah, it does. You're going to be able to change it all over to your sewing foot when you need to. All you have to do is unscrew the thumb screw, pull it out, take the plate off, put the other one back on, put your sewing foot on, and you're good to go. A lot of people ask, is this top carriage part of the Little Rebel?
So a little bit of a trick question. So it's not necessarily part of the Little Rebel, but it is a part of the Cutie Breeze frame. So now with this package that we are giving away and that you can get, if you purchase the Cutie Breeze frame, then yes, those handles would be included with it. Another thing or another item we often get questions on as well though, is actually this specific little controller. Because it sits on the handles, sometimes people are like, okay, well then is that something that is again specific with the frame? That controller is not something necessarily that comes with the frame, it does come with the machine. So whether you're like, hey, right off the bat, I'm just gonna be sewing with it, but at any point, if you did decide to move over to frame quilting, you will already have that control with you. So
Right. And we really designed the Little Rebel to be an ideal quilting setup, right?
Yes.
You can do your sewing, but what I mean by that is we've got our thread cutter right here in the front. Now it's not an automatic thread cutter. I know a lot of people are curious about that, but it still works really great. And then from there, we have the features on the head of the machine, so it's really easy for your start stop, your needle up and down. Sit down, you've got your reverse stitch for when you're sewing. Then you have your thread tensioner. You can go up into your quilting mode, set it regulated or not, because this machine's actually stitch regulated, and that's pretty cool. Maybe you could highlight that for us.
yes, so it's actually very unique in that it is a built-in feature. So even with other long arms, typically it's kind of a separate component that helps give that machine those consistent stitches. With this, again, fully built in. So again, it's gonna give you those beautiful consistent stitches all the time.
Yeah, and it's going to be very precise because we've got a powerful 1,600 stitches per minute capability in here, and that's dictated by the motor. A lot of people are going to love that because you can get through those thicker fabrics, and you're going to get a bit more precision out of your optical encoder there, which is a new technology for Grace Company. We traditionally have wheel encoders. This one is optical encoder. But maybe as we continue down the machine, talking about what features it has, we can highlight it has easy accessibility to your stitch speed and your stitch length. So if you're a person who loves manual mode, you get full control over what you're doing.
Absolutely. Kind of moving back here as well, this is probably one of my favorite features on it, is it does have a built-in bobbin winder. Now this machine actually runs with two different motors in it, so one that helps run the machine itself. The other is attached to the bobbin winders. A lot of machines out there, you have to have a separate bobbin winder, or it's just not built in. Or hey, if you're doing it, you have to completely unthread your machine to do that. With this, you can see there's two thread stands, two cone stands, so you can actually have it threaded back here and again, wind a bobbin and be stitching if you want, because there are two motors in there for it. So I absolutely love that. And it's also unique that it kind of has a sensor where if you want, you do not have to fill a full bobbin.
Right.
So let's say you're at the end of your quilt, you're like, hey, I just have a little bit of space left. I don't need a full bobbin because I'm going to switch colors after this. You can change it and adjust which depth you want it to wind to. Super easy thing to do, but again, it's wonderful that that bobbin winder does come built into the machine.
Yeah, and you talked about on-the-go portability. I just wanted to go back and highlight really fast, it's a 27-pound machine. So it's really easy to take on and off, and you get that 13-inch throat space in a 27-pound machine is really impressive. Now, not just the throat space you want to highlight, so that's 13 inches. You actually have 8.5 inches of height. So that's really important when you're starting your quilting frame journey, or even if you're sit-down free motion quilting. But on your frame journey, you're going to notice a couple different styles. We have a hoop frame here. Some frames have an idler bar that can go up in there. And the higher your throat, the more capability you're going to have on expanding that machine size.
Yes. Some other features of the machine is when I was talking about the bobbin, it actually takes a larger bobbin. So what fits in long arm and mid arm machines, which is nice. Again, just a little bit longer, you're able to sew without having to stop and take the time to wind that bobbin.
Right. The domestic machines typically have a bobbin that holds about half as much thread. So you're getting a lot of those domestic abilities in a long arm quilting machine. That's not the only thing. We're not gonna stop there. We got so much more. You actually have lights everywhere on this machine because you want clear visibility on your quilting space, your patterns, and what you're doing. So we actually have 13 inches of throat lights here. We have our needle lights. And you won't be able to see it, but down under where you take your bobbin out, there's actually a bobbin light, so you're able to get in and out of there as well.
Yes, be able to see it. And it is actually a front loading bobbin. Now, for some of you that maybe aren't quite as familiar, most domestic machines, the bobbin sits just on top. So right under kind of where your needle goes up and down. With this one, it is a front loading. So you don't necessarily have to completely undo your fabric. You can lift it up and access that extremely easy. So wonderful, easy access to that bobbin area.
And along with getting started and having all these great features, we actually help you along the way with getting familiar to your machine. Recently at Houston, a lot of ladies were coming up to me, a lot of quilters in general were coming up and saying like, oh, how do I thread it? I'm always worried about getting the right tension. Well, we've actually pad printed, so we've got these designs on the top of your machine that show you step by step how to take that thread and get proper threading through there. And so it helps really when you're troubleshooting, do I have a tension problem? Is my thread not right? So why is it breaking all the time? So really great feature. And maybe we could highlight a bit more about the frame, because I know some people might know about the Cutie, but this is the Cutie Breeze.
Yes, a little bit different. So you will notice if you kind of stick with us, it is extremely similar to that older Cutie frame. With it, there is fewer steps in the assembly process of the new Cutie Breeze frame. And then one of the most noticeable differences is what Justice pointed out here in the back. So with the older Cutie, it was actually bungee straps that would come up and over the top and that would then latch onto these back clips. With these, it's just easier. You don't have to worry about accidentally maybe sewing that bungee in there. I know a few people have had to do that and unpick it. And then another big thing that you'll see is that these handles do come up and over the top. With the older Cutie, they sat down below. Kind of just changed it up and actually added some features into it with it coming up and over. One feature that's nice with it is that because the handles don't sit below, you actually do not have to roll up this front fabric. So again, kind of just a less step you have to do as well. But then even within this, again, there's some specific features. Now right here, and actually on both sides here, there is a magnet so you can put your pins in there. And there is different inserts here depending on the size bobbin you're using. So this frame, you can use it with other domestic machines. So there's different inserts depending on the size bobbin you're going to use. And then the last thing, and it's on both sides as well, but it's actually a scissor holder here for you.
Built-in features like that, because we're trying to think about what gets you through the whole process. And we know we're going to have a lot of people really wanting this. Maybe I could highlight too, you do get 3 more inches of space here. It does fit on a normal 2-foot by 4-foot table. And we actually simplified the process of, like you said, putting this top bar on. All you have to do is take a thumb screw out and your bar comes right on out. Now, I think all those things are amazing, super cool, but that's not all the Little Rebel can do. We actually have a few things that come with the Little Rebel to set you up for sewing and quilting, or sewing and quilting sit down that I kind of want to highlight. Right here, I'm going to show you the first thing. We talked about the stitch controller, but it comes with a foot pedal So you're able to do all that sewing. Now, obviously on a frame, we designed it so you don't need that, so you get a little bit more control. What else do you need when you're sitting down? Well, I just did want to show you
Yes.
that we actually have the sewing feet. You get 4 different feet that come in there and the sewing presser foot. And kind of the last thing that's more on the quilting side, so if you have your quilting foot on, we've got a big 18 by 24 quilting base extension that comes in here. Now, LJ, you highlighted that we have a front-loaded bobbin, which some people might be like, how am I going to use a quilting base extension and use a front-loaded bobbin? Well, you just pick it right on up and get your hand in there, and you're actually able to get your bobbin in and out, and it comes easily on and off just with the pull of a trigger right there.
That's awesome. And again, yeah, it's wonderful. I do just want to again remind everybody the features that Justice just showed there. So that 18 by 24 table, the foot pedal, I was going to say presser foot, and then those other presser feet and this quilting hopping foot all come with it. It actually comes with an even cute tiny little panel just for you to get started and feel comfortable with, you know, whether it's, hey, I'm going to start sewing, I'm going to start quilting, whatever it is. So it is a full package with the Little Rebel that's going to help you get started right off the bat. Now, another thing I do want to just mention a little bit. So it'll be the Little Rebel with the new Cutie Breeze frame, but also the QCT6. Now, I've had an opportunity to use it a little bit and I love it. Biggest thing to keep in mind is that with all our automation systems, the tablet is a separate component. So everything else you need, including the tablet mount, does come with it. But again, the tablet itself is separate.
And just to highlight on that, because I'm super excited about it, and we heard so much good feedback in Houston Festival, and as we've been selling it in the market, it literally guides you step by step. Some people are intimidated by automation, and we heard that. So we built a product that just takes you step by step on the screen to get successful edge-to-edge patterns like Laura was saying. So I just really want to reiterate that. Obviously, we have a lot of good information on the website about that and what's going on.
Maybe only other thing just to kind of mention, because it's standard on domestic machines, is that you do have a lever to raise and lower that presser foot. So that, again, when you are doing the sewing aspect of it, and you could say even quilting if you want to get that fabric underneath, you do have that lever that's included with it.
Now, obviously, the whole bundle by itself, that's one price, but I did want to highlight real fast, it's a 13-inch machine, 8.5 inches high, 1,600 stitches per minute. This machine is selling right now for only $26.99. So just to show you the price and the value of that, that's really amazing. Our 16X starts at $4,500. So you can see the price difference of, and that's really the lowest price, probably the highest value of entering into the market. So you can see the price difference of what we're trying to do to get people that versatile machine, get them into their quilting hobby and having a good time.
Yes, but thank you everybody for joining us. Again, this was the Little Rebel on the new Cutie Breeze frame. And again, the deal we'll be doing though is also including that QCT6 edge to edge. I'm Laurel Daniels.
And I'm Justice, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.
You did a wonderful job. Don't you think so, Mark? I mean, Mr. McScrooge?
Yeah, it was okay. You could have sewn more if you tried harder.
You gotta be careful. The spirits of grace will come and teach you a lesson. Is your back okay? Maybe you should sit down for once.
It's sore from carrying this whole company. Maybe I will sit down for a minute.